Hi team, greetings everyone. In our previous session, we saw how to create a suit and how to run the suit, and we saw what are the uses of this variable set, right? In today's session, we are going to discuss about parallel run. What is this parallel run? So, when I say parallel run, first we need to understand how the execution is happening as of now whenever we are selecting a single machine, right? So, in order to understand that, that is called as sequential execution. Let us understand sequential execution first, and then we'll go for parallel run execution, right? Now let me just go to the presentation. So here first you will understand what is sequential execution. Now executing a script in sequence one after the other. So I have a suit, right? I have a smoke suit, and in that smoke suit I have around 20 modules, right? In those 20 modules around 1000 scripts are present. Now, if I execute them, let us assume that each script is taking 1 minute for execution. So what will be the total suit execution time? 1000 minutes, right? Just for example, I am taking each script taking 1 minute for execution. So the total suit execution time is around 1000 minutes, right? Now I have a machine one. In that machine, I have Chrome browser. In means I have this version of 119. So I want to trigger this smoke suit execution in my machine number 1 which I have, and in the Chrome browser, and the version which I have in the machine is 119. So what happens when I trigger the execution of this smoke suit? All the 1000 scripts will be executing, and the execution time taken for this smoke suit execution is 1000 minutes, as we discussed already, right? Now once after this is completed, I want to check my scripts whether they are running in a different browser or not in the same fashion. So what I will do, I'll select the same machine once again, but this time I'll not go for Chrome browser. I'll go for Firefox browser. So once I go for Firefox browser, I have a version of 118 in my machine, right? Now again I have to trigger the execution of this 1000 scripts in the Firefox browser. So what will be the execution time? It's around again 1000 minutes, because as we already considered, each script is taking 1 minute for execution. So once after this execution is completed, my compatibility testing is over, right? I have tested the application in Chrome browser as well as Firefox browser. But the total time taken for this compatibility testing is around 2000 minutes, right? Why? Because I have used the same machine for different browsers, right? Once after my first execution is completed, then only I can trigger the next execution. That is called as sequential execution, one after the other. Once my first execution is completed, then only I can trigger the second execution, right? This is called as sequential. Now can I reduce the time spent in this particular compatibility testing? So for that, we have a concept called as parallel run. Okay, what is parallel run? Executing same scripts in parallel in multiple machines. So I was executing the same scripts in the same machine at different point of time, right? But this time I will execute the same scripts in multiple machines in parallel. Okay, how do we achieve this? Let's take the same scenario. Smoke suit 20 modules, which is consisting of around 1000 scripts. Again, same concept, means same assumption, 1000 minutes, which is nothing but one script taking 1 minute for execution, right? Now I have two machines. I have machine 1 and machine 2, which is nothing but this is computer 1 and computer 2, right? Now I will select Chrome browser in my computer 1, and in that particular machine I have selected Chrome browser, right, which is of version 119. And in my machine number 2 I will select Firefox browser, which is of version 118, because there are two different machines, right, means two different computers. In the first computer I'll select Chrome browser, and in the second computer I'll select Firefox browser, right? These are the respective versions. Now I will assign all the 1000 scripts for both the machine. So what will be the execution time? My machine 1 will take around 1000 minutes and my machine 2 will be taking 1000 minutes. But these 1000 minutes are executing in parallel because I have selected two machines, right? So two machines will be executing the scripts in parallel. So what will be the execution time now? It is 1000 minutes again. Why? Because previously I was selecting the same machine and I was triggering the execution first time, and then I have to wait for the completion of the execution, and then I have to trigger the next execution. But here what I am doing, I am selecting two machines at a time. Parallelly, the execution will be happening in the Chrome browser in the first machine and in the Firefox browser in the second machine. So the execution time is taking around 1000 minutes for each machine. So I will be getting the same result in the same 1000 minutes, right? This is called as parallel run, parallelly executing the same scripts in multiple machines. Okay. Now let us understand with the help of a scenario. So here if you can see, a smoke suit is there, 20 modules and 1000 scripts, which will take around 1000 minutes for execution, right? Now I have machine number 1 and machine number 2. In machine number 1, what I have selected Chrome browser, and which is of version 119. In machine number 2, I have selected Firefox browser, which is of version 118, right? Now I want to reduce the time spent on this compatibility testing. I have reduced from 2000 minutes to 1000 minutes. Still I want to reduce. How do I do that? So what I will do, I will assign 500 scripts for my machine 1 and the remaining 500 scripts for my machine 2. So what happens? The execution time taken for this execution is totally 500 minutes. How come? Because they are executing parallelly. My first machine will execute the 500 scripts which has been assigned to it, and my second machine will be executing the 500 scripts which is assigned to it in the Firefox browser. So here the total time in the compatibility testing is reduced to 500 minutes, right? So here what we are doing, we are reducing the time involved in the compatibility testing from 2000 minutes to 500 minutes, right? This is called as parallel run, where we can distribute the test cases between different machines, right? 1000 scripts are there, but I have distributed them as 500 and 500, right? Now let us understand what is parallel run according to FireFlink. Now when I say I have a FireFlink license and the license number is 15321, right? This is the license number and it's a free license. Whenever it is a free license, there will be one parallel run available for a free license. Okay, what do you mean by one parallel run? So number of parallel run indicates the number of machines that can be used for the execution in parallel, right? Now if you can see one parallel run, so what is it indicating? One parallel run in the sense it should be able to trigger the execution in only one machine, because number of parallel run indicates number of machines that can be used for execution. So here when I say one parallel run, we can use only one machine at a time. Okay, what if I have two parallel runs? Then two machines can be used for execution in parallel. So at a time I can trigger the execution in two different machines. Okay, what is three parallel runs? I can execute three different machines at a time. Means I can trigger the execution of scripts in three different machines at a time when I say three parallel runs. So this is the parallel run concept in FireFlink. Depending upon the number of parallel runs you have in your license, the number of machines that can be accessed for the execution purpose, right? Now let me take a scenario. I have the license 15321, which is a free license, right? And which will be obviously having one parallel run, right? Now I have two test engineers, test engineer 1 and test engineer 2, right? And test engineer 1 is having his own machine, which is nothing but his own computer, and test engineer 2 is having his own computer, right? Now test engineer 1, he is triggering execution in this license, right? They both are working under the same license, and test engineer 1, he is triggering a execution in this license through which machine? Through his machine by 12 p.m. right? Now once the execution is triggered, what will be the status? You will be getting the status as running, right? Now this execution is going under which license? This particular license. And test engineer 2, who is also working under the same license, now if he triggers the execution in his machine under this license by 12:01 p.m. right, after 1 minute. So now the status of this particular execution which is already running is running, right? Now when he try to trigger one more execution under the same license, what is the status he will be getting? He will be getting the status called as parallel run exceeded for license. And why so? Because this particular license is a free license. When I say free license, how many parallel runs will be there? Only one parallel run, right? Now, one parallel run in the sense, how many machines can be triggered at a time? Only one machine, right? So here, if you can see, test engineer 1 is already running a script in this license, right? Now, test engineer 2, if he is trying to trigger one more execution in the same license, can he trigger? No, because only one machine is allowed per this license, correct? Because at a time only one machine can be accessed for execution. So here what is happening, two different people are trying to create two different instances at a time. So the first one who is getting this particular execution status as running will be executing the script. At the same time, if the second person is trying to execute, what is the status he will be getting? Parallel run exceeded. Okay, then when this particular execution will be triggered? Once after this particular execution is completed. Once after this particular execution is completed, then this execution will be triggered automatically, right? So here one parallel indicates one mission at a time, right? Now let's take the same example, same license, but this time I have upgraded my free license to Cloud Professional. While upgrading, I purchased one license, means I purchased one parallel run, right? Now, when I say I have purchased one parallel run, in total how many parallel runs will be there for the license? Two parallel runs, because for a free license already one is free, right? Now, when I say I have purchased one more parallel run, totally two parallel runs are available for this particular license now. So in this license, how many peoples can execute at a time? Two peoples, because two parallel runs are available. Two machines can be triggered at the same time, right? Now, again, let's take the same scenario. Test engineer 1 is having his own machine and test engineer 2 is having his own machine. Now, test engineer 1 is executing the script by 12 p.m. Right? What is the status he will be getting? He will be getting the status as running once the execution is triggered. Now, after some time, when the execution status is running for the test engineer 1, if test engineer 2 is trying to trigger one more execution in the same license by 12:01, right? Now what happens, since this particular license is having two parallel runs, the test engineer 2 also will be getting the status as running, because in this license they have two parallel runs. Two people can execute at different machines at the same time, right? Because they have two parallel runs. What if there is a test engineer 3 and he is going to trigger the execution at the same point of time? He will be getting what status? Parallel run exceeded. Why? Because this particular license, how many parallel runs are there? Only two parallel runs are there, right? Okay. Now let's take a different scenario. So it's the same license which is having a Cloud Professional license and which is having two parallel runs, right? Now there is one test engineer and he is using his machine and he is triggering execution at 12 p.m. Now when he is triggering this execution, what will be the status of the execution once it is triggered? Running, right? Now once this execution is going on, if the same test engineer using the same machine, if he tries to trigger one more execution, same test engineer, same machine, while one execution is running, if he tries to trigger one more execution, what is going to happen? He will be getting the status as client is busy. Now here we have two parallel runs, but test engineer 1 cannot trigger two different executions. Why? Because these are same machine, right? When a machine is executing a script, it cannot trigger one more execution, right? Now if it is a second machine, say for example test engineer 1 is using a different machine, this test engineer 2's machine, and triggering one more execution, then he will be getting running status. Why? Because these are two different machines. So in a single machine we cannot create two different instances, even though when you have two parallel runs. So parallel run purely depends on number of machines where the execution can be triggered. So in a single machines you cannot trigger two different executions at a time. When it is two different machines at a time, you can trigger the execution, right? This is with respect to parallel run theoretically. Now we will see the platform, right? Let's go to FireFlink platform. So here we have this Shopper Stack project, right? Let me just click on the Shopper Stack. Let me go to test execution. So here we have this smoke testing suite and we have one demo suite, right? Now I want to run this smoke testing suite, and here if you can see, the smoke testing suite is having 3 scripts. Now I want to run this particular suite in my machine. What I will do, I'll just click on this run button, and here I will select single machine, and here I will select my machine details, and I'll just click on run. This will execute the smoke testing suite in my machine. But I want to run that particular smoke testing suite in multiple machine at a time. In that case, what I will do, I'll just go for multiple machine. So once I select multiple machine, you can see we have an option, right? Let me just show you. We have an option. What is saying? Select execution type. Okay. Run full suite in parallel on all machines. Compatibility. What is the meaning of this? Now, when I go for first radio button, what it is saying? Run full suite in parallel on all machines, right? Now, here when I say multiple machine, right, I have to select multiple machine here. I'll just click on this machine, select machine, and here if you can see I have 2 machines, right? Now, I'll just click on this Steve Anderson. So, here if you can see this is a checkbox. Since I have selected multiple machine, it is allowing me to select multiple machine here. So, here I have selected Steve Anderson, right? When I try to select this another machine, it is giving me a warning message. This license is limited to 1 parallel run. So you cannot, okay, let me just click it on again. So you cannot select more than 1 machine. So it is saying this license is a free license and you have only 1 parallel run. Now let me just cancel this. How do I know this is a free license and it is having only 1 parallel run? In the top right corner, let me just cancel this as well. So in the top right corner, if you can see, we have this parallel runs, 0 of 1 running. So what this indicates, I have 1 parallel run, and out of that 1 parallel run, 0 is running as of now. So no one is using that 1 parallel run. So here, since this license is a free license, how many parallel runs I have? I have only 1 parallel run. When I say 1 parallel run, how many machines I can access for execution? Only 1 machine. So only if I click on the run button, if I select this multiple machine, if I go for this select machine, it is allowing me to select only 1 machine at a time. See, if I try to select the other machine, it is saying your parallel run is executed. Because when I say 1 parallel run, I can use only 1 machine for execution. Right? Now, let me just cancel this. Let me just cancel this as well. So, to understand this parallel run concept, let me navigate to a different license which is having parallel runs. Right? Now, let me just navigate. See, this is a different license. How do I say this is a different license? When I click on this license, see what is this license number? 4845. And here it is managed by Karthik. So here, this is a different license. And this license, how many parallel runs it is having? It is having around 19 parallel runs. And it is saying 1 out of 19. So this indicates what? Out of 19 parallel runs, 1 is occupied. It indicates that 1 is using this particular license. Means 1 person in this particular license is executing a script now. That is called as 1 out of 18, means 1 out of 19 is running. So when I want to see who is running the script, I can just click on this parallel runs. So this will show me this particular person is triggering the execution. Now, this particular execution is triggered in front under this license, right? What I will do, I'll just sync the status. So now it is showing it is done. So here, if I close this, you can see 0 out of 19 is running, which means no one is executing the script as of now. So here, if it is mentioned as 3 bar 19 is running, what is the meaning of it? It's nothing but 3 persons are executing under this license, right? So this license is having around 19 parallel runs. Now what I will do, let me go to the projects. Let me go to Shopper Stack project. Under this, we have a Shopper Stack project. Let me go to test execution. So if we have multiple suites, right? So here if you can see, we have a suite called as integration suite. And this integration suite is having around 3 scripts in it, right? Now I want to trigger the execution of this particular suite in my machine and in another one machine parallelly, right? Now what I will do, I'll just go for run button. So when I say I want to run it parallelly, what I have to do, I have to select multiple machine. So once I select multiple machine, it is saying run full suite in parallel on all machines for compatibility. Now I am going to run the entire suite, integration suite in different machines. So I have to select those machines, right? I'll just click on this select machine. So here again, if you can see, it is showing multiple checkboxes. So here I will select my machine first, Steve Anderson. and one more execution I want to trigger with this machine. Okay. Now observe, I'll select this. It is allowing me to select. Right? Why? Because this particular license is having how many parallel runs? 19 parallel runs. So how many machines I can select here? I can select 19 different machines. If I'm selecting the 20th machine, it will give me parallel runs exceeded. Right? Now here I have selected two machines. It indicates I am going to run the entire integration suite in Steve Anderson machine and in this Karthik's machine. Right? Full suite. 3 scripts in machine 1 and 3 scripts in machine 2. Right? Now here in machine 1, I want to run it in Chrome browser. So what I will do, I will select the machine, means I will click on the machine name, and here in the browser, I will select the respective browser. As I told, in the Steve Anderson, I want to run it in Chrome browser. And in this another machine, I want to run it in a different browser. Say for example, I want to run it in Microsoft Edge. Right? Now I'll just click on select. So once I click on select, if you can see in Steve Anderson, the execution will be happening in which machine? Means in which browser? Chrome browser. In this Karthik's machine, the execution will be happening in the Microsoft Edge browser. So all the 3 scripts will be running in this machine as well as this machine, but they will be using a different browser. Right? So here, when I trigger this click on, means when I trigger the execution by clicking on this run button, the execution will be happening in Steve Anderson as well as Karthikeyan. Right? Parallelly, in parallel. Right? That is my first option. Run full suite in parallel on all machines. So in my first machine, 3 scripts will be running. In my second machine, 3 scripts will be running parallelly at a time. Right? Now, what is the second option we have? Distribute test scripts of one suite on different machine. Okay. Now, I'll select this radio button. So once I select this radio button, if you can see, we have 2 radio buttons. Distribution mechanism, automatically distribute suite between machines and manually distribute suite between machines. Right? So the default option which is there is automatically distribute suites between machines. So here when I select the second radio button, the option distribution mechanism we have is automatically distribute suite between machines. So here first thing is I have to select the machines. Right? I'll just click on this select machine, and here let me select the same Steve Anderson and Karthikeyan. Right? As usual in Steve Anderson, I want to run it in which browser? Chrome browser. In Karthikeyan, I want to run it in Firefox or this Microsoft Edge browser. Right? I'll just click on select. So once I click on select, if you can see, automatically distribute suite between machines. If I scroll down and if I expand the tree structure, so the 2 scripts which is present as registration, they are going to run in which machine? Steve Anderson in Chrome browser. But the script which is present in the login is going to run in which machine? Karthikeyan, but in Microsoft Edge. Right? So what is happening? This automatically distribute suite between machines is automatically distributing the suites between the machines which has been selected. So now I have selected 2 machines. So here 2 different machines are allocated. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll just click on this select machine. I'll go for another one machine. Say for example, I'll go for this machine. Right? Now how many machines I have selected? 3 machines, right? I'll just click on select. So now if you can see, my first script will be running in FFE machine, and my second script will be running in Steve Anderson. My third script will be running in Karthik's machine. So here, when I select 3 different machines, each and every scripts are allocated for 3 different machines. Right? So here, what is going to happen? Depending upon the machines you are selecting, this scripts will be automatically distributed. Right? Now, I want it to be distributed, but this first script I want to run it in a different machine, and the second script I want to run it in a different machine. I want to distribute the suites, or I want to distribute the script according to the machine. In that case, what I will do, I will go for manually distribute suite between machines. So here what I have to do, I have to select the script and I have to assign the machine. Right? I'll just select this. So this particular script I want to execute in a different machine. I'll just click on the select machine. So here now it is showing a radio button because that particular suite means that particular script I want to run it in this particular Steve Anderson. I'll select this. So this script will be running in which machine? Steve Anderson. I want to select this second script. But this time not Steve Anderson, I will go for Karthik's machine. I'll just click on select. See, this is allocated for Karthik's. And here, this particular script I want to run in a different machine. Say for example, this Hemant. I'll just click on select. So here if you can notice, I have manually distributed the scripts according to the machines. So here when I say I want to distribute it, I have two options. One is automatically distribute. When you select the number of machines, the FireFlink only will distribute the scripts according to the number of machines. And when I say manually, we have to manually sit and select the machine according to the scripts. And say for example, you want this entire registration module to run it in a particular machine. Select this entire module, just click on select machine and select that machine. And I'll just click on select. So that machine will be applicable for the entire module, right? And this module you want to allocate for a different machine. Select that module, select the machine and click on select. So that will be allocated for a separate machine. So when it comes to assigning the machines, we have two options. One is run full suite in parallel on all machines. When I go for this option, I can select the different number of machines where all the scripts in this suite will be running in parallel in both the machines. Right? Now when I say distribute, so I can distribute in two fashions. One is automatically distribute. All I have to do is select the machine. It will automatically distribute the scripts according to the number of machines selected. And when I say manually distribute, I have to sit and assign the machine for all the scripts. Right? So this is called as parallel execution in FireFlink platform. So you will see this particular parallel execution in a different session. Right? So in today's session, we have discussed about parallel run execution. We will discuss about the next topic in the next session. Thank you.